Excellent. To start off, we have our grade 6 leadership students. If you two wonderful individuals would like to come up. So as we discussed and as we practiced the last couple of years, we have grade 6 students that come up. We think it's important for the school committee to hear about the wonderful things that are going on at Warren and West Brookfield as well. So what we've done in the past is Warren will come 1 month and West Brookfield will come the second month, but the teams work together to create a PowerPoint so that we're sharing information that is consistent across both buildings. The other thing that we've worked really hard to do is do a lot of consistent things across each building. So when things are going on in Warren, a lot of things are going on the same thing at West Brookfield, which is super exciting. So tonight we have
Owen Ray.
And we have who are 2 6th grade students from
Warren Community Elementary School.
And if this doesn't go well, who prepared you for this?
Mr. Guimond.
Mr. Guimond. So, but I have every bit of confidence with that.
So we can blame him if it goes bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, do I have to push the tab button?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to start, right?
Yeah.
We're here to talk about the West Brookfield Elementary School and the Warren Community Elementary School about the updates.
Leadership jobs in Warren Community Elementary School include classroom jobs in K to 4. So some kids go down and they help with like the little kids, like if they have to have help with like writing, with math facts, they go down and help them.
And then we send a couple kids down to each classroom to talk about the recycling team, and they pick up the recycling bin and dump all the papers that they don't need anymore into the trash can.
And then the kids who get the can tabs, they go down to each classroom and they count how many can tabs they have, and then they put them into this big trash can, and at the end of the year they ship them off to Shriners so that Shriners can sell them to a recycling company and use the money for sick kids.
And then we record the daily podcast.
And then we have the crew who raise and lower the American flag each day.
And then some kids assist with dismissal in the kindergarten classrooms.
And what's a daily podcast?
It's where like a few kids, like one person will record and 2 people are on the podcast, and where they like talk about say what's for lunch, and then we say the Pledge of Allegiance and stuff. And then the Warren Community Elementary School first trimester special events are the 5th grade Veterans Day Assembly,
The PBIS Cubs Store and Kindness Rock Painting Event.
the Kindness Club Food Drive,
The Holiday Shop and Scholastic Book Fair.
the 5th grade Christmas card contest sponsored by the Warren Police Department,
And Spirit Week, December 15th, 2025 until December 22nd, 2025, start of 2nd trimester. Leadership jobs in WBES include peer role modeling positions K to 4. Tasks include practicing math facts, sight words, and reading aloud.
Booster-thon Fun Run fundraiser,
Veterans Day Assembly.
Spirit Day / Pajama Day.
Elves Are Us and Scholastic Book Fair, helping younger kids shop.
At our monthly meeting, we reviewed Leadership Club expectations,
Spirit Week, December 15th to 19th.
the 6th grade students versus teachers volleyball game to be held on December 18th.
A shared vision.
Both WBS and WCS continue to implement shared curriculums.
ELA, Wonders grades K to 5 and Study Sync grade 6.
Math and Visions grades K through 6.
Science, Project Lead the Way grades K to 6.
SEL Second Step in Bullying Prevention.
Students from both WBES and WCES attended the ecology school trip to Saco, Maine in October.
Thank you. We appreciate your time and continue to support of both elementary schools.
Do you have any questions for us?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So the can tab for Shriner, do you guys compete as grades or classes or anything like
Yeah,
that, or you just collect them?
We compete as classes, and I think at the end of the year, whoever has the most get extra recess with Mr. Guimond and Ice Pops.
Very nice. Well, first of all, fantastic job. Thank you. I'm sorry, Christine.
No, that's fine.
And I'm just curious if there was a particular job that was a favorite.
My favorite has to be either the flag or the can tabs.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
How do you get chosen for your jobs?
So mainly Mr. Guimon will ask the kids who like do good in school and who are kind to everybody, and then he assigns them to teams and then they do the certain jobs.
Very cool.
Awesome. Any other questions for our young presenters?
I
Awesome.
have one quick comment.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Morris. Olive, were you on the leadership club in 6th grade? Do you remember? You don't remember? Evie, do you remember? Look, it goes fast. But I know that Olive and Evie were both on the leadership club. And if our friend Haisa was here, she would have been on the leadership club as well. The reason I say that is these things that you're recognized for is because of your academics, because of your grades, and more importantly, about the contributions that you make to your community. Olive, in the back corner there, is going to be celebrated in about probably 10 minutes after Haisa and Evie do their presentation. But Olive's going to be celebrated for her contributions to our school community. So that starts at the very young ages. So when you are selected to be on the leadership team, you guys are selected as being leaders of the future. So the things that you're doing that are small right now end up becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So I encourage you to continue to be involved in your community. When you come up to Quaboag, I encourage you to get more involved outside of your leadership club with some of the opportunities that are here, because you guys are going to make outstanding leaders and role models at Quaboag in less than 6 months, and we're super excited about that. Evie and Evie and Haisa are going to do the same thing that you do, and I would encourage you to stay just for that portion of it, and then if you want to celebrate Olive with us, you can. But you can see what it looks like going from the elementary school to what the student presentation looks at the high school. But I'm super proud of you guys. You guys are highly recommended by the staff at Warren and West Brookfield. You guys should be proud of yourselves. All right?
Awesome.
So up next we have Evie and we have Haisa to do our middle high school presentation. You need to push the button, or you guys good?
I think you should push the button, Mr.
All right, I got it. All right, here we go. Anybody gonna say happy holidays?
Happy holidays. On Friday, November 21st, all grade levels participated in the honor roll assemblies, recognizing the hard work and dedication to academics with certificates of recognition issued to all Quaboag students who earned first, second, and third honors for quarter one. In addition, during the assemblies, multiple students per grade level were honored with certificates for perfected attendance for quarter one.
Project Lead the Way. Our PLTW students participated in the 1A Applied Learning Hub's 2025 Student Solve Competition, where during a 4-hour virtual ideathon, students have a chance to apply the skills they learned in their PLTW Applied Learning classroom while working alongside industry professionals. Through 1A, students worked in teams to tackle a real problem from a local company, bringing relevance and student ownership alive in the classroom.
The Fire Academy and EMT programs partnered for a joint training during a simulated house fire. This training included identifying the location of the fire, developing a tactical approach, and conducting search and rescue operations. Our EMT students were on scene as our Fire Academy students recovered mannequins from the structure and brought the victims to them for simulated EMT services. Thank you to Senator Oliveira for attending this training. This collaboration is a strong example of how our communities work together with the state to provide meaningful career opportunities for our students, opportunities that are greatly needed in our small towns.
Lockdown drills. All schools in the district participated in lockdown drills last month. These drills are part of the district safety plan and help us understand how to respond to difficult situations if we ever had to. Thank you to all of our public safety officials.
Thomas Wood, Sedona Marshall, Violet Atwood, Hannah Burkhardt, Emma Lewis, and Samantha Call all participated with a Nutcracker at the Hanover Theater in Worcester. Being invited to participate in an event this big is such an accomplishment for our students.
Spirit Week. QR MHS is hosting Spirit Week from December 15th to the 19th, or the Winter Spirit Days. The last day, Friday, a teacher versus student basketball game will be held by Student Council during the pep rally.
The NHS and Community Service Club have partnered with the Warren Patrolmen's Association to support a toy drive for families in need within our communities. These organizations, along with other volunteer students, spent 4 hours wrapping all the gifts that were donated or purchased. Thank you to everyone involved, as we are making happy holidays for those that would struggle without this event.
Winter sports. Winter sports are starting. Basketball tryouts began the week after Thanksgiving. Indoor track and cheer also began. Indoor track have their first track meet at Tantascwa, December 17th at 5:30. Girls varsity basketball had their first game against Leicester, December 8th. And boys varsity basketball also had theirs against Palmer, December 8th.
On Friday, December 5th, the Army National Guard recruiter Paul McCrowan visited the school during the lunch period. He is also going to be scheduling more visits to the school.
12th grade update. Seniors will be opening a snack shack for the basketball home games. The first one will be for the girls' basketball game tonight. The seniors will also be participating in the Seniors vs. Teacher basketball game on the 19th during the pep rally. Many seniors have already started applying for college, and as most early applications have gone by.
The junior class had their last open snack shack for football on the Thanksgiving game. Right now, they are working on their last decisions for their prom by looking for a photographer.
9th grade. The freshman class had their Santa breakfast this Saturday in the high school cafeteria from 7:30 to 10 a.m. In addition to breakfast and pictures of Santa, students organized activities for children and had raffle baskets for the adults.
On Wednesday, December 17th, the entire 7th grade will be traveling to Hanover Theater in Worcester to watch the production of A Christmas Carol. On Wednesday, November 25th, 8th grade faculty members and students participated in a turkey trot relay canned food drive, which benefited the local food pantries for the upcoming holidays. 8th grade also just concluded their annual food dip holiday fundraiser.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Who were the industry professionals that had visited the Science Fest Day?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that information.
The science.
I can get back to it, yeah. Do you know who
I
was
was
there?
part of it. It was a student solve thing. It was just like a big Zoom with like 100 different schools. I don't know who the leaders were, but it was just like a big collaborative thing.
And I can get more information on that.
Please.
I am. All right. Mr. Duff, take it away.
All right, up next we have the Worcester County Superintendent's Association Scholar of the Year. Every year, every superintendent in Worcester County has to select a student that represents the values of their school, both academics, being a well-rounded student, being involved in different extracurricular activities. And this year, for the first time, it was a very easy choice. We have many outstanding scholars that give back to their school community, but I can tell you that this student, between her efforts with our community service club, with NHS, with volunteering at many different organizations, carrying 6 advanced placement courses throughout her high school career, being number 2 in her class currently, which could obviously shift because we're only almost halfway through the school year. But Olive Moulton came to us in 7th grade, and I remember our 7th grade step up, her being very nervous about coming to the high school, but she has acclimated to her environment. She's well respected within the school community as being a role model. We've been on so many community service cleanup projects, and I always say when we do community service cleanup projects, we're not allowed to accept donations or money for that. It's about giving back to the community, and I think that all of it exemplifies what that means to give back to our school community. So it was an easy choice for Mr. DiOrio, myself, and Mr. Urban to select Olive as our Worcester County Superintendent Scholar of the Year, which every school district in Worcester County gets to select one student that we would recommend. If we could put somebody as the face of our school about giving back, this is who the student would be. So Olive, if you want to come up, I'm sure the committee's going to have a few questions for you. And if they don't, I might, because I like to ask a lot of questions sometimes, right, Olive? Yeah. So this is Olive Moulton, and she is our representative for the year. If you guys have any questions for her.
Congratulations. So what grade are you in again? I'm sorry.
I am a senior.
And what do you hope to do when you go off to college?
I'll definitely, I don't know what I'll major in, but I'm looking for like just some close colleges around here. I might go into environmental sciences. Yeah.
Nice.
Have you made a decision yet?
I haven't. I applied to UMass and URI. Those are some of the big schools I've applied to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you at least have now you have a thought. Last time I asked you, you didn't even know what you wanted to do. So
Right?
you've come farther ahead than last time.
Slowly developing.
There you go. It's always a work in progress.
Well, first of all, just congratulations again and phenomenal honor with representing all your hard work, which is just great. I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. What would you say to an incoming 7th grader to Quaboag about the importance of getting involved in activities and extracurricular things?
I think it's really important. I would say to them, like, it's important to get involved because it helps you grow your community and then also just your social life in general. Like, you meet so many people, you talk to people you don't know. So what's important on that aspect is just to, like, put yourself out there and you kind of, like, grow as a person.
Awesome.
Can you talk about some of the things that you're involved with?
Well, right now I'm a part of the Community Service Club, and we do a lot of community cleanup. I do that a lot with Mr. Duff. Part of NHS, they were talking about the gift wrapping. I was there helping wrap gifts for children in need. And what else do we do? We organized a Christmas card making for veterans, so I was part of that. And I think that's all we've done for right now, but we have more things coming, like Extra Life, where we do like a community thing here, and yeah, there's more stuff upcoming.
So what did you do in the fall?
Oh yeah, sports too. In the fall, I did varsity soccer, and I was a captain on the team there. Yeah, and that's my one sport that I play, but I get heavily involved with that. We do a lot of like team meetings and like getting together, and we're supposed to have a banquet soon. So
I thought you played a second sport.
I did the ski club, but I'm not doing
How about
that.
Power Puff? Did you play that game?
I did play in Power Puff.
Did you guys
Yes,
win that game?
we didn't.
Were you happy about that?
It's okay. I think that we all had fun, and that's the
You can
important
say
part.
no. You can say you're disappointed that you didn't win. That's okay.
I
How was
had
the
fun.
referee during that game?
Must have been Mr. Duff.
It
you
was
know.
Mr. Duff.
Mr. Duff always seems to short the seniors. You know?
Yeah.
So I've had the privilege and the honor of knowing Olive for a while. I actually I had the joy of coaching her in soccer back in the U10 days. You know, when she was, Mr. Duff says she was tiny in 7th grade. She was even tinier back then. And one thing I will say about Olive is she is relentless, if anything. She was never the biggest kid on the field, but oh my God, you get her anywhere near that ball, she's coming out of that pile with it. So to watch you, grow over the years. Obviously, you played soccer with my daughter. It was fun to watch you play. Hope you think about playing, in college, even if you're not on the varsity team. All these schools have intramural teams and stuff like that. But definitely continue your involvement in your next phase. So.
And that was the really fun thing about playing soccer throughout the years. I got to meet so many people like Nora, and it was really a nice experience.
So if possible, could I get a picture of Olive with the school committee so that we can put this on
Sure.
our page for her huge
You have to tuck in my
accomplishment?
shirt. I'll stand behind her.
Let me know.
I wore my Quaboag shirt.
I think Mr. Duff wants to be here.
Of course, Mr. Duff has to be in.
Oh, no. We all look great. I'll be in the back.
I'll be in the front then.
You're right in the middle, Olive. You're the important one.
Yeah, totally.
Come on, guys, we can cuddle. Get in here.
Yes, perfect. Stand right there.
Yeah, it's only
I'll stand behind Mr. Duff.
You'll see right over me. that digital photography class paying off over there?
Yeah,
Sorry about the subject
got
matter.
a few for
At
you.
least Mr. Duff finally got a good phone, right? You come back when you make a decision.
Yes.
Hi, Evie, thank you. Okay, so congratulations to all of you. That's a great accomplishment.
That's amazing.
From here, we go to the thank you to the Warren Police Association. I know over the last couple of school committee meetings, we talked about the partnership that we have with our community organizations. The Warren Police Association asked us to partner with them to provide holiday gifts for members or community members in Warren that couldn't afford it. So our students participated in a toy drive. We had 13 kids that actually went to Walmart and spent $2,300 on toys that was donated. Then they organized all those toys, and then they gift wrapped all the toys. So it's been quite a project. I know the Warren Police Association, in particular Detective Warren, said that the project took him about 3 weeks to do last year, and with the help of our students, it took us 3 days to get it done. But the kids, once again, see the value of giving back to their communities, which is something that is very difficult to teach within the four walls of the classroom. So providing our kids with those opportunities are some life lessons that they'll take a long way. We will be handing out those toys, not the students, but the adults will be handing out those toys to our families at some point this week. So that'll be a great opportunity for the families to see the hard work that went in between the police and our students. Our North Brookfield update, Ms. Gonzalez and I did go to went to a meeting. We met with the superintendent of North Brookfield. We met with the special ed director of North Brookfield and the finance director from West Brookfield to talk about a potential tuition agreement. I would say that North Brookfield is probably, and Nikki, you can correct me if I'm wrong, probably about a month behind where we thought that they might be at this time because there was some reorganization within the school committee. Then you had you had the tuition task force. So they're about a month behind where we would have expected them to be. They've collected information from Quaboag. They've collected information from Quaboag. They're going to discuss that either at their December school committee meeting or it's going to be at their January school committee meeting. And then following those meetings, they'll either have a vote on if they want a tuition and which district they want a tuition with, either at that meeting that night, or they'll take the information, go home, and come back at the next meeting. At this time, I know Nikki's going to talk a little bit about it when we get to the FY27 budget. At this time, we are not including North Brookfield in our budget because I don't think that they'll have a vote at least until February, and then it still has to go to DESE and still to the Commissioner of Education. So we won't have an official word on North Brookfield till April or May at the very earliest. So to include them in our budget would not be wise on our behalf. So our budget is going to be our budget as a standalone district without taking North Brookfield in. If North Brookfield does come in, then we'll have to have another discussion about if there is revenue that we can help to offset local assessments. Obviously, that would be what our goal is, but we'll have to have a bigger discussion around that. As you know, the budget can't go up from the school committee approved budget. It can only go down. So having that information a little bit later, if the budget has to be voted on and decreased, then we're able to move it down. We're just not able to move it up. So we will keep you updated on our status with North Brookfield. Student engagement coordinator. The middle high school did hire a student engagement coordinator through Title I funds. The student engagement coordinator is there to help with our guidance and our administration, tracking student attendance. We used to call it a dropout prevention coordinator. But we're really looking at student attendance. We're looking at our MIFA and our MyCap pathways, getting students signed up, which is kind of like a clearinghouse for colleges, but more importantly for career inventory interests that the student engagement coordinator will work with. She will also help with coordinating our after-school activities. We do run after-school homework clubs on Monday and Thursday, as well as Saturday school every other Saturday for students, one, that need help with their academics, two, that might have some attendance issues where we can address some of that, as the state has asked us to do, and three, if there's any disciplinary infractions that don't quite merit an out-of-school suspension, but might merit an in-school suspension, we might assign a Saturday school rather than an in-school suspension, because if we have an in-school suspension, our students aren't in the classroom environment learning where they should be. We take those things into consideration when we make those decisions, but Saturday school has been a huge thing for us and for our students. They actually, I would say 50 to 60% of our students actually like coming on Saturdays because they get additional support more on a smaller basis than in a classroom. So we did hire the student engagement coordinator, paid through Title I funding, which is grant funding. Phil?
Who does this person report to?
Reports to the building principal.
Are they a member of the guidance department, or?
They're a catch-all, so they work with guidance and they work with administration, so they work with both. So if we have a couple of students that need more than what the guidance counselor can provide, if they need daily check-ins, then we might use that person for daily check-ins and things like that. School Insight, Student Information System. I know Meg would be here, excited to be here because they're looking at a new student information system where they work. We are going to change away from Power School next year. We did sign a contract. It is cost beneficial, or at the very least neutral, but I think it's cost beneficial for us to move away from Power School. School Insight is a bit more intuitive than Power School is. From the parent side, we've looked at the apps that you have on the parent side. School Insight is a much better, accurate reporting information system than Power School. The other nice part about the student information system, in particular School Insight, it's going to have our Health Snap program, which is for our nursing, which we pay an additional fee for now. We won't use Health Snap anymore. For our cafeteria, we use a point of sale system that will be right through School Insight. So all of our programs that we're using, all those miscellaneous programs that Power School sells off and we have to pay subscriptions to, are all included in the student information system. So Power School has become a ginormous company that has bought many companies that now they're controlling a big piece of the market.
I assume this is all cloud-based.
It's all cloud-based. So we are starting, we did have a meeting with School Insight Friday, and we have our teams put together for state reporting, for attendance, for administration, and then we'll bring teachers in. With it also comes, for those of you who are in education, what comes with it as well, it's an add-on that we're going to pay for, but is the Google School Edition, not the free edition. So we're going to pay for the Google Pro, which will integrate grades from Google Classroom into Power School, but also gives you several different functions that we don't have currently with our free portion of Google. So we're excited about that project. It will be a project. We will get through it, but it will be a project. Zoom phone system. In our building and budget subcommittee meetings, we were looking at our phone systems and whether we can get a phone system that is more complete for our district. So for example, right now, if I have to call Warren, I have to dial 413-436-5983, and then I have to go through the prompts to get to where you need to be. Zoom allows you to communicate between buildings by dialing extensions. So it would be cost neutral, if not cost beneficial for the district, to look at this Zoom platform for phones. I know that Nikki has used it in her prior experience at one of her other jobs, and it's been something that's been really beneficial for her. So we're looking at potentially doing this for the next school year. The issue that we have is that Warren and Quaboag, their wiring, their Cat 5 or 6 wiring is compatible with the Zoom platform. Right now, West Brookfield is not compatible with the phone system. Our technology director Chris LaJoy, can get the wiring done, but we would not be able to get it done in time to have this installed over the summer. So we are going to push this project out to next year. However, we're going to look at using E-rate funds to get the wiring done at West Brookfield So if we choose to go with Zoom, we can do all 3 buildings at one time. I don't want to do 2 buildings and not have the 3rd building connected to it. I think it's a project that we do in its totality, all at one time, versus segmenting it out. So we will be pushing that out. I know that'll come up again. In your packet, I didn't print it out, but you had a student assessment update from the council through the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. When the state voted to do away with MCAS, we knew that the state would say that we want to have another requirement, that's a state assessment. So they did put a council together. For your leisure, there's about a 120-page document in your email that you can read through. What they're looking to do is they're looking to put in EOCs, which is end-of-course assessments. And what they're saying is they want school districts to come up with an end-of-course assessment that we give to every student. The end-of-course assessment isn't going to determine whether the student receives their high school diploma or not. It's only there to see how far along they've progressed in the curriculum. So you could have a passing class. If it was an Algebra 2 class and there was an end-of-course assessment in Algebra 2, you could have an 80 in the class and a 50 on the assessment, but you're still going to pass because you had the 80 in the course. So it's just another way that the state wants us to track data.
I have a question.
Yep,
Isn't that kind of what a final exam is?
it kind of is, and that could be what we consider our
I mean, I'm not in education, but that's kind of what a final exam is, right?
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking as you were explaining it.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of what it is. What's that?
Grade does or does not count.
You don't have to pass as of right now, and once again, this is still in the process, but as of right now, you wouldn't have to pass the end-of-course assessment as long as you pass the course
So
itself.
you have an 80 and you get a 50, do you have an 80 or do you have a 70?
You have an 80. So when we
Doesn't
did our
count as a
policy
grade.
as our,
Yeah.
when we did our policy with our competency determinations, it aligns to what our competency determinations was that we voted on as a school committee, but they want us to create a specific end-of-course assessment. And that'll take a little bit of time to get done.
The only question I have, the state overwhelmingly said no more MCAS. How legally can they come back in and say, okay, now you're gonna do this?
So what I can say is the MCAS was
How
never,
legal is it, you know what I mean?
yeah, the MCAS was never officially voted in by the state. It was a
It was
regular.
voted out by the state.
It got voted out, but not in.
So
So I could see
it got
this
voted out,
becoming
so now
another
you're trying
issue. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. But DESE can set the requirements that they want, and as long as it's supported by the legislative body, it would be okay. I can tell you right now, with everybody that's involved in this process, and it's in the manual, the only organization that's not involved in this process is the MTA.
And they're against it, from what I read.
Yeah, they're just not participating. They aren't for it. I can tell you that. They're the only entity that's not involved in the process.
They are for it, though?
No, they're not. They're not involved in it at all. So I would say stay tuned to that. This is gonna be a moving target as we move forward, but I certainly wanna put it on your radar. I think the school committee and the policy subcommittee, I think the policy we have in terms of competency determination is quite comprehensive and covers all our bases. And you're right, it's almost like a final exam. Maybe that was Andrew, I can't remember.
I'd have some concerns as to, this is not graded at this point. Down the road, I can see that very quickly being changed as to, that is now a full
Right.
requirement, that that's passed as well. I would also be concerned, as, you know, as we're saying, this is in reality a final exam, and if you're gonna use those final exams as the competency, then in reality, those, as a final exam right now, those are factored into students' grades.
They are, yep.
So then there's almost a question is, does it get factored in, does it not get factored in? Are they doing something that doesn't even hold weight for the student? You know, and is it becoming, I guess as a teacher myself, is it becoming more of another assessment on the teachers? It would be a dangerous thing to just kind of be aware of, as to, you know, how that's taken.
I agree 100%. Professional development, parent-teacher conferences. Last week, we did have parent-teacher conferences at our elementary schools, just so the committee is aware, and it was in the calendar that you approved. For our first half-day, it was a parent-teacher conference open house at Quaboag and professional development at Warren and West Brookfield. Warren and West Brookfield elementary schools are on trimesters, so they get 3 report cards a year, where Quaboag's on quarters, where you get 4 report cards a year. So for the second professional development day, which was last week, Warren and West Brookfield both had half-day for parent-teacher conferences, and Quaboag had, they had professional development. Their professional development was on universal design, which is kind of scaffolding, so every students have access to curriculum within the classroom. So I just wanted to make sure that the committee did know that we did get our 2 parent-teacher conferences in, as well as 2 professional development days. Our next day is in January. The Fire Academy training, we did see a slide from Haisa and Evie on Friday of last week. The Warren, West Brookfield, and we had some members from Ware Fire Departments went to a building that was donated to the fire department in Warren and in West Warren. And they practiced search and rescue. Senator Oliveira was out. We were hoping that Senator Durant was out, but he was out of the country. And Donnie Berthium and Todd Smoller are state reps. It was really great. We had about 20 kids there. 5 of the firefighters that came and EMTs that came to help support this training were actually graduates of Quaboag within the last 2 years that are now firefighters or EMTs for either West Brookfield or Warren. But to have 20 kids out there doing the training and seeing what it's like in real life, State Senator Oliveira couldn't believe the training that our students got and asked us if we'd be willing to go to the State House and present on this, because there's no other school districts that are doing what we're doing at Quaboag. So we will certainly take him up on that, but I think it speaks volumes to the programming that we're offering our kids to help them be prepared for a career or college. It gives them such an advantage when it comes to those times. Our wellness committee, we do have a wellness committee. Our wellness committee met last month. We do need to revise our wellness policy. We're in compliance in a lot of areas. We're moderately compliant in a lot of areas, and we need improvements in some areas. So we are tackling at this point the need improvement areas to make sure that we get to where we need to be. We do have representation from teachers, from administrators, from food service director. Superintendent was there. Nikki has been in contact with Missy on a regular basis. Missy is a big part of this. Katie Egan, who is one of our lunch and recess monitors at Warren Elementary, is actually our wellness committee chairperson. She had a great agenda and recommendations to make to the wellness committee, and we'll continue to review that. And eventually it's going to end up at the policy subcommittee so that we can take a look at it and make sure that we are in line with what DESE is doing. The big takeaways for me from the wellness committee is that policy has to be in line with what's going on with the federal guidelines, because we get, as you know, we're community eligibility provision where we get reimbursed for our meals. And if we have violations within our school that violate the federal policy, then we could potentially become not eligible to get CEP. So we want to make sure that our policy outlines why we need to stay in line. So thank you to Missy and to Katie Egan for all their hard work in that area. QRMHS lighting project, that's been on the agenda for the building and budget subcommittees. We did say that the town of Warren was going to take that to vote. That's why it's on our agenda tonight. The town of Warren did vote at their special town meeting on November 20th. And they voted in favor of $60,000, which would be their portion of doing the lighting upgrade on the stadium field, as well as putting lights on the tennis courts, because as we are starting to notice, and for folks that come here on a regular basis after school or at night, I really feel that Quaboag has become the hub of the community, where it's not just students that are out there. You have people who are walking the track. We have community members playing tennis at all times that our kids aren't on the courts. And I think that it's just become part of our community where I think that we can make it more accessible, not only for our students, but also for the community at large. So Warren, Mr. Capaco, I know that you've been a big advocate of ours. I'd like to thank you for your support on that. The town did vote like 94 to 13 or something like that in favor of this project. But Ray has done an outstanding job of advocating for us, as well as Nikki going to the meetings and advocating with the Finance Committee in Warren to make this project happen. So we'll continue to keep you updated as we progress with that. MSBA update, we did get approved for the doors and windows project in West Brookfield. Nikki will talk a little bit about the budget scenario in West Brookfield when it comes to the FY27 budget. We will be, in January, we'll be on a Zoom call with the MSBA to figure out what our next steps are. We do not know what the reimbursement rate is yet. They're saying anywhere from 40 to 60%. When we did the doors and windows in Warren, our reimbursement rate in Warren was 78%, which was outstanding. We're not going to get to 78% in West Brookfield. If we can get close to 60, that would be great. And then if West Brookfield can afford to do the project, we'll be, that'll be another conversation. There will be also, MSBA is opening up another window that I'll sit down with Cindy and Mark and we'll talk at the building subcommittee. They're opening another window up on April 17th. But Nikki and I and Mark will talk about that and then share the information out on that. So that's what I have for updates for the committee. I know there was a ton in there tonight, but there's a lot of things that are going on that, it's important for you to know about. And we did go with School Insight, just so you know, Meg. I said Meg would be mad that she wasn't here.
I tried. I had my own school council meeting, but I left and scooted here. But
Yes, you did.
I actually really enjoyed School Insight. Is stellar and helpful. They're a good size to help us if we need anything. So, yeah.
So if you need any assistance along the way, I think we're probably a little ahead of you. I'm not sure.
You're like a couple months ahead of us.
Good,
Yeah.
good. So
Awesome.
that's what I have for reports.
All good stuff.
Mr. Chairman.
Moving in the right direction. We're going to
Thank you,
table.
Mr. Duff.
Yes, thank you very much. Going to table the minutes until later, next meeting. And Mr. Duff, you want to give us an update on the statewide graduation report?
Yep, we just did. We did. That was the report
Okay.
for competency determination and end of course assessments.
Mhm.
Inside your packet was the district newsletter, and I will forward out the regular minute meetings for you to vote on for our January meeting.
All right. That brings us, thank you again, that brings us to wonderful Miss Nikki.
So on December 4th, West Brookfield held their next meeting with the Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee, department heads. Unfortunately, Mr. Duff and I could not be in attendance because that was also the date of our contract negotiations for the teacher contract. But I did catch up with Teresa to just kind of get an understanding of what's going on there. So they have had their free cash certified. I will tell you, it is roughly about 25% of what Warren's is. So as we are starting to go through this budget process, I mean, they're still looking for cuts for this year. And definitely, they have some outside parties interested in what's going on over there and why cash is the way it is. So I would anticipate, they're going to be looking to us as the biggest part of their budget to bring our numbers down. So there's more to come from them, but it is not
Looking good.
looking good there. The FY27 budget update. So as Mr. Duff has said, we will not be taking into consideration North Brookfield in our budget. I am working with DESE to understand if it gets approved, what does that mean for us from a budgetary standpoint and what that approval process will need to look like. So, for instance, if it happens and all of a sudden we have you know, the revenue that we're bringing in, the additional expenses, our budget is gonna be out of line, and what does that mean for us? So I'm trying to figure out what that looks like.
But I'm even thinking like simple things like we need to buy more Chromebooks or more instructional materials that are not in the budget, you know, what is that, you know, how do you do
Yeah, that
you
all
know?
kind of plays into it, so
Yeah.
the bigger part, actually, believe it or not, is the revenue part. That's where I'm more concerned about from a free cash standpoint. What does that look like?
Mhm.
And what does it mean for a budget approval as well? So I'm reaching out with Michelle Griffin and talking to her about what that looks like, and also our federal grant liaison as well, so I can understand what that looks like. So we are not taking them into consideration, and, you know, I think going into this budget, you know, we terminated a contract this week with a vendor, and, you know, the message is we're not taking that money and moving it elsewhere. That money is considered savings, you know, knowing what's going on in West Brookfield in particular. So, you know, we're looking at everything and understanding how we use it. Are we fully utilizing it? You know, looking at positions, we are looking at everything. So this will be a tough budget.
I was gonna ask, when he first mentioned the North Brookfield not including that in the budget, how do we feel is that gonna put us in a tough spot, not including them, or is that something where we can just kind of, you know, move through it and handle it as it comes?
I think we handle it as it comes. I think we don't have an answer. And ultimately, just because they, you know, say the school committee votes that that's how they want to go, there's steps that they have to follow, so they have to let DESE know that they're considering, that they're going to close the school. They have to let them know they're doing a tuition agreement, and then it needs to move through approval process through there, and then it also needs to move through approval at the commissioner level. So when we had talked about this last year, it was at the end of May, beginning of June, that would land on the commissioner's desk. So, you know, even if they say yes, I don't think it's financially responsible to put that stuff in there. We'll come up with an alternative and figure out what that looks like with, you know, with our contacts over at DESE. So
When we look at, I guess the expenses too, is to curriculum and materials there, I'm assuming we did look at some of the numbers student-wise.
Yep.
Does that change some of our staffing needs?
mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
So in all transparency, if North Brookfield comes on, our operating budget is going to go up while our town assessments will likely go down. So our budget that you vote on in March will not include North Brookfield, but then if it does include North Brookfield, the overall budget for Quaboag will be higher than it was where you were at, but the total assessment will be less. So those are some of the questions that Nikki's working on. The other super tricky part about this budget year is West Brookfield is potentially looking to do an override. And from what I understand, and either Greg or Phil or Nikki, you can probably correct me on this if I'm incorrect, but at the last meeting we attended, that override vote was going to take place after town meeting.
Potentially.
And if it takes place after town meeting, then you have to potentially create two budgets, because you'll have a budget without an override and you'll have a budget with an override. So this is, if you take what's going on in West Brookfield, if you take, you know, the potential of bringing on North Brookfield, if you take the potential of neither override passing or North Brookfield coming, it's going to be a super tricky budget year. Like he said at our last meeting, we have, you know, we're anticipating at least $400,000 increase in health insurance. We're looking at probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 20%, and maybe higher. We're looking at $300,000 in salary increases. So walking out the door, you're looking at $700,000 increase from last year. And last year we got $1.3 million above minimum contribution. If West Brookfield, hypothetically, and I'm just throwing the number out, say they could give $200,000, Warren will give $350,000. If you do the math, you're already about $1.4 million behind. So it's going to be an interesting, it's going to be a difficult budget year, but an interesting one at the same point, because there's so many variables that we can't control. So we're gonna do our best, and I know that we'll work through it with the budget subcommittee and then ultimately at the school committee. But this thing is likely going to move several times, unfortunately, because of the nature of what we're dealing with.
You didn't want to create 3 or 4 different budgets?
I think we're gonna have to be honest with you, that's the hard
I
part.
have a question. Do you know if if there's going to be a meeting between the Warren Board of Selectmen and the West Brookfield Finance Committee, like to come together? Because that seems such a, 25% seems like such a huge discrepancy. Do you know if there's any plan for them to all come together at the same table and try to talk?
I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, West Brookfield has relied on free cash and stabilization as supplementing
Right.
their budget. And they have, I mean, they said it last year, and it sounds to me they've been saying this for quite some time. So I think they have a few things they have to figure out. I mean, they've talked as much as cutting nighttime police and cutting hours back, and, you know, I mean, they have several projects that aren't just the school, so
Right.
they have, you know, the town hall, the roof is in desperate need of repair. They have this repointing at the library that's almost $1 million, so they recognize that those projects need to continue. They recognize that they need to figure out where they can cut, if anywhere. And, you know, if the prop doesn't go through, then, you know, the cuts will hurt, so.
I mean, you would just think
This
that
has been
with,
years though, too, so.
with what's going on in West Brookfield and, you know, what's going on in Warren, and I know Warren, I can speak as a Warren resident, you know, they're talking about, you know, a public safety complex, like, you would just think that both towns would be talking about regionalizing police, regionalizing fire. I mean, I get it, we are the largest budget, you know, we're the largest number of their budgets. But police and fire are close second and third. So, you know, if those were regionalized and costs were shared, I mean, you know, there's just never conversations that ever seem to take place.
What's crazy is a lot of times, like with the fire and EMS, they'll jump right in and help each other anyway, so.
Right.
That wouldn't be a terrible idea.
Well, I know like the fire chief, I think, in West Brookfield retired, and the Warren fire chief is covering for the West Brookfield fire chief.
That's right.
So like, it's already happening. Like, let's just make it
They're
official.
already very well integrated with that.
You know,
It just
like-
feels like these conversations have been going on for so many years, that it's like, let's
Yeah.
just figure this
Do
out.
it.
Let's just do it.
Let's do it.
Come to the same table and figure it out.
Right.
But-
All right.
All right. Any other good news?
That's it.
Oh, that's it, okay.
All right.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much for
you,
that
Nikki.
wonderful update.
Subcommittee updates.
All right, subcommittees. Mr. Morgan is not here this evening, so I will fill in for him. We talked a little bit about school insight to replace Power School. We talked about the IVAC grant, update on the Warren Town meeting, and talked a little bit about basically the timelines for the budgets for FY 2027. And then we went into executive session to discuss tuition updates and contract negotiations. And Mr. Burgess, Mr. Landine, you are next. Personnel,
Hang on for later on today.
all right. Thank you. Mr. Matheson,
Yeah, we met on December 1st. We talked about the wellness coordinator and the wellness committee. Once we have that put into place, we'll probably seek an expedited readout on that, as Desi does look for us to have that in line sooner rather than later.
mm-hmm.
We talked about the employee benefits manual, we're continuing to work on that. And we will meet again, I believe, on January 5th after the budget subcommittee.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Let's see, Mr. Burgess is not here, so fill in for him. We did discuss again the IVAC update, Mark's favorite project, which is the handicap elevator here at the middle high school, stadium lighting, and talked a little bit about the phone system and the 3 different schools and phone systems there. So we will be meeting again on January 5th. All right. New business. I'd like to ask a couple of folks to take over as to chairperson of the respective subcommittees. Mr. Landine, would you be willing to, based on your municipal experience, would you be willing to take over from for Andrew? I'm
No,
sorry,
for
not
Jay.
Andrew, for Jay, the budget subcommittee? Okay, thank you. Mr. Schwenker, given your many years of experience, 1.7 decades, would you be willing to take over the personnel? I'm sorry, do you want to say it again? Would you be willing to take over the personnel subcommittee, please?
For my remaining time on the school committee, it would be my honor, Mr. Morse.
Thank you very much, I do appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions at this point?
So, just a kind of clarification, I thought,
Yes.
back in my time, that Megan was part of policy.
Why?
She
Are we
was.
talking this about?
But apparently Megan has issues getting on her email. So, Mr. Duff, at some point, can you work with Ms. Sears to get this
That
clarified?
Ms. LaJoy will call you tomorrow.
I know that Ms. Sears was very disappointed to not be reviewing the employee benefit manual
I
with
bet.
us. So she's looking forward to the riveting information that is found within it.
That is rude.
Thank you, Megan. Oh, Megan, I'd like to also thank you for basically being on every team.
I had to show him this stupid shirt.
I think
You
you're the
win.
only one showing holiday spirit. Well, Nikki's wearing green, so.
Yeah, I suppose.
Cindy's wearing red.
Cindy's in red.
Yeah.
The rest of us are.
So
I guess
thank
I'm
you,
technically wearing
Megan,
green.
for your dedicated service. We appreciate it.
Excuse me. We are in the policy subcommittee, just so you know.
I
We're
like to be
pretty
on the
cool
policy
group.
committee. I just didn't know there was a meeting and okay.
You're forgiven.
Thank you.
No, let her off easy. All right, this time we have
Let
a
her off easy.
public hearing period. Ray, do you have any questions?
Ray, take it away.
You as well,
You know,
Ray.
hey, we dressed for the occasion.
Thank you very much. Mr. Schwenker?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, to discuss teacher negotiations. Executive session will consist of members of the school committee, Superintendent Duff, Mrs. Courtney, Finance Director Gonzalez, and we will reconvene in open session for adjournment.
I'll second.
All right, roll call.
He already said it.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, aye.
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 All right. Thank you.